Hey, what's going on? Today we're going to create this fresh fruity looking logo. It's going to be a lot of fun to create, and I was even thinking of creating a recipe landing page to extend upon this logo and even code up the design. Let me know if you have any other ideas on what I should create. I'm always open for suggestions. Alright, let's get started. Here is the reference image I used, which I just found on Google Images, as you saw before, with the final fruit logo. You could even color it as an apple peel or a potato peel, whichever is your favorite food. I won't judge. Get your pen tool skills ready and select our orange color. Then zoom right in on our orange peel image. Start from here, actually over here. Click from here and then up here and drag a little to create the curve. Shorten the handle to make our lives easier. Click here and drag. Same thing with the handle. And then same step down here on this section too. Actually a little bit higher to make it more thicker at the top. Zoom right in here so we can see things easier. Next anchor point just over here. That's our first shape completed. Quickly do some housekeeping and fix up our shape. Click on the corner radius tool to create a nice curve like this. Tidy this section up too. We'll round these edges too, why not? Actually, I might thicken up this area too. If you're still unsure on how to go back on an anchor point, just hit delete to go back a step. And if you're still learning how to use the pen tool, this is definitely a great challenge to practice on. That's our second shape completed, and onto our small third little shape. Just make sure there's no sharp bends on your paths, and you can just easily fix them up after you finish creating the shape. Alright, now it's time to create the inside of the orange peel. Just going to select our light yellow colour, grab the trusty pen tool, and this time we'll start with the smaller section. Doesn't matter if you overlap our orange shape from before because we can layer our yellow shape behind the orange shape. You can press Control and left square bracket to bring it back one layer, or we can select the orange shapes and then press Control Shift right square bracket, and this will bring those shapes right to the top layer of our document. Same thing again with the next two sections. Oops, wrong color. No need to worry about overlapping the shapes because we'll just bring the orange shades back to the front again. duplicate our orange peel by holding Alt and Shift together and just drag it over. This is where the magic happens, to make our lines crisp and uniform. Head over to the Pathfinder tool and we'll use the trim tool like so. As you can see, the yellow shapes have been trimmed accordingly to the orange shapes, and it helps speeds up our process. So if you're trying to get it perfect without this tool, you'll be there for hours. I'm sure some of you guys are thinking, why don't we group the orange sections together? Well, the reason why I didn't want to do this, it's so I have full control later on where I want to put the gradient on each section of the peel. This is what I enjoy about designing. You can let your imagination soar, experiment on how you like to lay out your designs. But what I want to do is have this shape reflected vertically. And the reason why I want to have it arranged like this, hidden Z within the logo, for zesty recipes. A good practice with designing anything in Illustrator is always to keep creating duplicates of your work so you can see your process. If you want to go back, experiment on anything from the past, and you can just go back where you left off and go on from there. Got the color palette for the gradients, and we'll need to create our custom color swatches. Looks like Illustrator copied my swatches over from my previous document, but I'll show you how to create them. Select the color you want, head back to the swatch panel, and then click on new swatch, and the dialog will appear. You can name your swatches whatever you want, and then hit OK. I won't be doing all 4 colors in this video, just to save time. Select the shape area with the direct selection tool, and then head on over to the gradients tool, and then click on this gradient box here to apply the gradient. We'll rotate the gradient to this drop down list 90 degrees, actually 120 degrees. To change the color, just double click this gradient slider on the left and then choose from our custom swatches that we just created. We'll do the same with the gradient slider on the right, and there we have it, our first gradient colored shape. You can also color pick gradients, which can save a ton of time, which is pretty handy, but we'll use the default rotation of 0 degrees, so we'll just need to adjust them accordingly, like with the first shape. We'll have to do the gradients slightly different with the inside sections, just due to how we have the lighting set up coming from the right. To make the rotation a positive 90 degrees instead of a negative 90 degrees like from before. Not sure if I had negative or positive, but just make it whatever the opposite we had. You can also adjust this top gradient slider to adjust the gradient even further depending on what type of effect you're after. We're going with a 80% on the location of the gradient. Just like before, to save some time, grab the color picker for the other sections and adjust the rotation. But you won't have to adjust the top gradient slider as it copies from our first gradient. There we have it. Our beautiful orange peel logo has been completed. Looks pretty fruity if you ask me. If you enjoyed this juicy content, let me know in the comments. Until next time.